what I'm doing is different. No businessman really goes on this kind of a tour.
My concern is we haven't gotten good at this yet. And so doing it a second time doesn't mean you can take anything for granted, because we still need a really strong message. We still need really strong advertising, great landing pages. Are we looking for a new way to think through this, or are we looking for just better ways to do what we did last year? I don't see the vision for the thing. This is the thing that leads to you blowing up.
I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh, I'm dreaming, oh, I believe in this dream I've been dreaming, oh.
Okay, welcome back everybody. Today I am outside because Mark challenged me to do my next meeting outside. I told him I wanted to do more walking meetings, and he said, okay, well, we're meeting in 20 minutes, so go outside. Like, all right. So this is my first walking meeting with my friend, the legendary marketer, Mark Drager. Oh, Mark Marketing. Mark, I just made that connection. Anyway, Mark is helping me build my brand, help me get to 10 million subscribers, change the world, and all that jazz. Mark, welcome aboard, man.
Thank you.
So the next thing that I need to focus on is my tour. It's coming up.
I'm
very
curious.
Exciting.
I know that you said let's focus on the U.S. tour, right? Where it's the pre-seed for the new book that you're writing, Built to Serve. It's the second time that you're doing this, and last year when you were doing the tour, you were so inspired and met so many people that you actually started to develop this book and write this book.
Uh-huh.
How does this tour help you on the road to 10 million? Even is this not just a giant distraction, Evan?
Maybe. The origin story of the tour is to take my wife to every city in North America with 1 million plus people. So this is that commitment almost realized. After this, it'll just be Seattle and Portland. So we could just make a trip out there. But maybe we continue. Maybe we do Europe the following year, or South America. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's building a brand. It's meeting people. Is there a faster, better way to do it? Maybe. But I got a lot of value out of the first tour. Met a lot of awesome people. Made a lot of inroads. This time we're going to do a live stream for 8 to 12 hours a day, which is scary for me. So I'm excited. Is it the absolute most efficient way to do it? Probably not. But we're doing it.
But you're doing it anyway. Okay, good. So if we're doing it, then the next question I have is, most of the months that we've been speaking, I've been pushing you to approach projects in a way that you don't normally approach projects, right? Yeah. You're the king of the castle, and everyone, you have a certain way that you want it done, and you're willing to teach and invest in people, and you're all about process, but it's mostly like everything has to come to you. So then the next question I would have is, if this is an important thing we're doing, what are you doing to give ownership to other people on your team to help turn this into a bigger deal than it was last year? Because originally you were going to do a coffee, a drop-in or something, like a meetup tour. And then you and I were at Tony Robbins together, and your agent, pushed you and said, no, you have to charge, but you didn't want to charge. Right. So last year you charged. What are we doing this year to make it bigger, to make it better? And who are you bringing on to help you realize that?
So first off, I'm talking to my friend Mark Drager, and this man is a visionary 10x thinker who's gonna come up with tons of genius ideas to push it to the next level, which I'm very excited about. It's partly the point of this call right now. So we're trying to line up partnerships in the different cities. Bless you. In terms of venues, so that I'm not doing it at hotel venues, but we're doing a national sponsorship. Some things in the work, nothing solid yet, but we're working on it. The live stream is happening, which is big and different. We're looking at doing a members only. This is what terrifies me, because if it's members only, I might have 2 million subscribers on my YouTube channel, but our members, we have, I don't know, couple hundred or something. I don't know how many members we have. So now it's selling memberships for people to join in live and how to make all that happen. I'm worried that we're going to go live and like there's going to be 2 people watching and I just booked this guy to be with me all day long for 3 months. And like nobody shows up on the live stream. So I have to figure that out. Nina's going to be doing a lot of the logistics again, but I don't know. Right now I'm open. Maybe there's much bigger things that we should be doing. I mean, last year we dialed in the Facebook ad strategy to market and promote it a little bit better as we went along. So maybe there's some learnings we can use for that. But at this point, I'm open to ideas. We just launched the tour page, I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I'm really worried that this is just going to be a crappier version of what you did last year. Like last year was somehow this magical beginner's luck. You know, you did it really quickly. You did it without a lot of planning. And so you made it happen. That, you know, you broke your neck. You came up with this idea for the book, all of this stuff. I'm worried for you that this year will just be it'll just pale in comparison, not only in terms of experience, but just in terms of getting people out or what you talk about or anything. Does that worry you?
I don't think it's going to be a junior version of last year. I think I'm more connected to the message this year. I'm super fired up about the Built to Serve, the book. I'm pissed that it's not going to be ready in time for the start of the tour, the actual book, but the message I'm really fired up for. The learnings last year of going more Q&A. I mean, you saw the very first one versus the very last one and the difference in the style.
I saw both, yes.
Diving more into Q&A and experiences. I haven't fully figured out what the format's going to be. Right now, I'm just calling it an evening with Evan in each city, but I'm open to rebranding and naming and whatever you want to call it. I'm not worried about being a junior version, apart from like me breaking my neck and how awesome that whole part was and pushing myself. That I don't expect to happen. I'm not going to throw my head against the wall, hopefully. But will it be like 10 times bigger than last year? That's a concern. I don't think it's going to be worse unless we really crap the bed somehow. But I don't think it's going to be. I'm more worried about, is it going to be much better? It's easy to do what we did last year. We could just photocopy what we did last year.
I'm worried that even just doing that won't be enough. Like, I know we're going to different cities and new cities, so there's always new people to hit. I guess my concern is we haven't gotten good at this yet. And so doing it a second time doesn't mean you can take anything for granted, because, we still need a really strong message. We still need really strong advertising, great landing pages. We need a clear checkout offer. And right now the landing page that you have with all of the different things you can buy is very, very confusing and it's not intuitive. We have more time. We have more time between, because we're further ahead. We've done this once before, but I guess, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you're focusing on this now, because I'm worried that it just won't be as good as last year.
Okay. I mean, either way, great. Honestly, I'm not worried about being as good as last year, but great. Let's take that approach. Like, yes. Okay. So we're worried that's not going to be as good as last year. I want it to be way better. So
yes.
How do we do that?
Okay. So I mean, there's a few different ways we can slice and dice it, but you mentioned that you have someone helping you with partnerships for all of the locations. Is progress actually taking place in that? And is it likely that will line up, or is that just, a nice to have, and you're going to find yourself renting location to location to location each time?
We'll see. It's been in the bag a couple times, but then it fell through. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Venue aside, I mean, whether it's in a sponsored place, if we can do it, that's more out of convenience that, one, that we got a national sponsor for every city along the way, but then just two, for convenience of, we don't have to deal with a different, I mean, yes, it's a different management team, I guess, each time, but we don't have to deal with a different company every single time doing it. Helps on the logistics. But in terms of making it bigger, or better. I don't know that the venue matters all that much. There's nothing wrong with the hotel rooms that we're using. If we had more people, we could have a bigger room.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Or has your agent, or have you explored at all the idea of having like a promotion company tied to it, like an an event promotion company, the way that artists or rappers or big speakers have promotion companies that promote it and handle ticket sales and do all of that stuff?
No, I don't know how the model works for a promotion company for the music industry. In the speaking world, everybody has their own team, so that's definitely a possibility. I don't know what that process looks like, but we can research. There's an idea.
The reason I'm pausing is because ultimately, if we're just going to do the same thing as last year, we just need to make sure that we do each component better. But that'll see really small, tiny little incremental improvements. If you get a national sponsor, it makes you look better. It'll make rolling in and out a lot easier, and there might be some cross promotion. Great. You're not worried about your content because you're going to be doing this and you're going to show up and it's going to be amazing. Fantastic. You know that you're going to have a video team who will be able to look at what you did last year and make it slightly better. Great. You know that we know from the learnings from last year with Facebook advertising how to basically do advertising, and maybe we can have better creative. Maybe we can manage it better. Maybe we can do a lot of things better. That'll have a slight increase. We can roll out the city videos that you've done. Like each one of these steps can certainly see an incremental improvement.
Yeah.
But it's not going to see us rethink the way that we approach this, or even for your road to 10 million, it's not going to actually help you have that breakout thing that actually leads to a new way of running Evan Carmichael, communications and the brand. So I guess what I'm asking is, are we looking for a new way to think through this, or are we looking for just better ways to do what we did last year?
Well, I think both, right? I mean, we have a landing page. We can optimize it better. I can make videos, all the learnings that we did, we can improve for next time. Awesome. That should be a no-brainer. That's how we make it better than last year. But what's the next step on top of that? The biggest new idea is live streaming it for 8 to 12 hours a day. And we got a sponsor for that.
Okay.
You don't like that idea?
To me, it's something that you're excited about because you think it's challenging and cool and going to help you break through. But from a tactic point of view, a marketing point of view, you said it yourself that you're selling memberships and it's membership only access. So this is a tiny little thing of a really big pie. This is not the thing that's going to blow you up and suddenly have 100,000 new people know who you are.
Well, it could be in terms of it's never been done before. Nobody really streams for that long in general. But especially in the business world, it's never happened. So there's an angle to be used. If we're underselling or promoting or emphasizing anything, that's probably it.
But they have to know you. They have to know you, and they have to love you to even be willing to spend that much time with you.
Even just the concept, even just a curiosity factor, like what is happening. Nobody tours and does a live stream all day long. It's different. I mean, even what I'm doing is different. No businessman really goes on this kind of a tour. If they're doing it, it's because they've been booked at different speaking events, or they're hooked up to a Tony Robbins and he's doing his events and you're going with Tony on it. But nobody does this. So we're not really playing up that angle at all, whether it's in our messaging to our own audience, whether it's reaching out to new people through media, through influencers, any of that stuff. We're not hyping that up at all, and could be, but especially the live stream part, nobody's doing it.
I don't know if anyone cares.
Okay. Ideally for me, I would love to build this into a model that then even after I get back, this is a full-time thing.
Of course. So your New York trip was very, very interesting. For the audience, you went to New York for a weekend, you tested live streaming, you did what most people call a shakedown when they're doing a big trip, just to make sure that everything works. It was interesting. There was curiosity, but there's some things that you have to overcome with it. But I'm not sure beyond a few check-ins or a few days, you're going to have to retain these fans. You're going to have to build the fans, but then retain the fans for a very long time. And so I don't know if this is the thing to hang your hat on.
Well, that's fine. I mean, we're doing it anyway. If it's not the idea that you're super jazzed about, then don't worry about it. What else can we do?
I'm not trying to talk it. I'm not trying to get you unjazzed about it.
No, it's fine. It's happening, right?
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's a core part of it. I don't see the vision for the thing. This is the thing that leads to you blowing up. So,
great.
And if we do the same thing as last year, I'm worried that that's not enough to blow you up. So what are we going to do to ensure that this environment, right, this thing that we're creating, you're going to go to all of these cities and you're going to do all of these things and you're traveling. And so you have this machine that's happening. Mm-hmm. What are we going to inject into it, or what are we going to do to make the most of it so that way it actually leads to more subscribers on YouTube? Because that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yes, sure.
I'm asking you.
Well, I'm asking you.
I know you're asking me. I'm asking you.
Okay, great. So
aren't I the coach in this situation? Don't I get to ask the questions and then you have to answer them?
Sure, but there's pointing out problems and then there's coming up with solutions. So, marketing genius. How did I introduce you at the top? What do we got?
What have we got? Well, I mean, so the first thing I would think of is if you're going to go to each of these cities and do all of these things, is there any overlap between the cities that you happen to be in and other third-party speaking areas that you could participate in? Can you arrive at a place and speak at a place and then, on the Thursday with your event being the Friday, and then try and get spillover for people who have heard a little bit about you on the Thursday to show up to the thing on Friday? Is there any ability, like, as long as I'm going to be there, I might as well stack my days with nothing, like you did when you're in Phoenix? You had not only the mastermind conversation with Dean, right? But you also went on a podcast with Joe. I don't remember anyone's last names.
Polish Graziosi.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when most people are doing these tours for press, they're moving from 15-minute call to 15-minute call. They're like your Thursdays, right? Your Thursdays, you're going from 30-minute interview to 30-minute interview to 30-minute interview. So I would think that from just a PR point of view and an awareness point of view, the more that you participate in third-party things while you're in those locations, the better it'll be for your overall brand, even if it's not affecting your ticket sales, in that city.
Yeah. So we've made a list of different events that are happening. We're trying to get me in speaking at them. We're selling a national deal where this company does they support entrepreneurs across the country. Mm-hmm. And we're trading him buying, I forget how many tickets to promote to his members from me, then speaking at his event in April. So there'll be a national sponsor across it. But the idea of, like, first city, I think, is Cleveland. Is it Cleveland? I don't remember.
I noticed that you're visiting a few cities you've already visited last year.
Yeah. Last year, not so much. It might just be Cleveland, to be honest. Maybe there's one more. But we are visiting cities that we've been to before, right? So we've been to New York. I've been to Boston. We've been to Miami. But they're big cities that doesn't make sense to skip if I'm doing a tour, because there's going to be lots of people in those cities. Mm-hmm. So I have a driver this year, right? I'm not driving.
In Cincinnati? You were in Cincinnati last year.
Yeah. That's like, what's after Cincinnati?
Then you're down to Nashville. So you're going down 75 to Nashville. Then you're in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's it. So it's
Dallas,
just Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Austin, San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans.
It's just the first two. Because otherwise, to get from Toronto to Nashville doesn't make sense to just skip over those cities
There's no
and do
way
one
that
thing.
Jacksonville, Florida has 1 million people in it.
Yeah, it does.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why you're hating on Jacksonville.
I'm not hating on Jacksonville in the fact it's small. It's not a
No,
lot
it
of
is.
a lot of wealthy people in the area, but it's
No.
small.
Urban area is like surrounding area. That's what we looked at. The Wikipedia list of million plus
It's the
cities.
fourth most populous urbanized area in Florida with a population of 1.3 million. Huh, how about that?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You learned something there.
We're hitting all 4 of them. 4 cities in Texas, 4 cities in Florida.
Okay, you don't know why I'm hating on Jacksonville. I'm not.
I mean, I just want to spread love to Jacksonville. I love you. I'm coming. I'm excited to get out of this snow. We'll see you soon, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville is pretty far north in Florida, so it'll be warmer than Toronto, but it's not as warm as something like Miami, let's say.
It's okay. I'm taking off the jacket for Jacksonville. So could I be doing? So I have a driver, right? This year I'm not driving.
Mm-hmm.
So and the routes also aren't as long in between the stops in the cities, because driving from Toronto to Miami is not as far as Toronto to San Diego and back. So I could be in the car. I could be doing work. We could be lining up. What's the best use of that time as I'm getting from place to place? What's the best use of that time in the car?
Here's the problem I have with the question you're asking me, I suppose. Is
Okay.
Because to me, you need to do activities that build up to 10 million.
Yeah.
And then you can leverage that 10 million to activate them to whatever you want. So,
Okay.
so you build the army and then you activate the army. The tour is an activation. The tour, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how to creatively make the tour lead to more followers, but it's such small numbers, right? There were people on the tour last year who sat down and went, I never even heard of you, but my friend said I had to come. Or I only got this ad yesterday and it said show up, so I showed up, and I can't believe it. You've blown my mind. But but we're picking up like 100 or 200 people over the course of the tour of these new people. The vast majority of people know who you are and are coming up because they like you. And so turning an activation like this, basically taking the people who know you and then selling something to you, interacting with them, giving them something to try and help you actually grow the top of funnel thing. My linear brain struggles with how do we use this as the backdrop for actually growing something bigger. So that's why going, as long as you're going to be in there, I don't, if we're focusing on how to make the tour the best possible, we should have that conversation. But if it's the road to 10 million, we should actually ignore the tour and use each stop in each city as the opportunity to grow that 10 million whilst ignoring the tour.
Okay, well, let's do both.
Okay, what do you want to start with?
Well, if that's how you want to structure it.
But do you think what I'm saying is fair, or am I thinking too small?
Listen, I love co-creating. If that's how you see it, then let's build around it. It doesn't mean I stop doing what I'm doing, right? So we're going to make the tour the best that the tour is going to be. And if I'm in each city doing local stuff, it's going to help the tour anyway. It's going to help the channel. It's going to help the brand, all of it anyway. Okay.
So maybe this is going to be old school, but I think I would challenge you to, do morning radio or do radio interviews in every city the way that you would do with a press junket. During drive time, lots of people still listen to radio. It would get your name out there. It would promote your book, and it would promote your speaking opportunity. So I think that's super far outside of your comfort zone. But if in every city you were able to do some radio, I think that would be beneficial, even if you're calling in. I think, finding a speaking engagement in each city would be also very good at a third party thing, even if you're doing it for free, because it's just making the most of other people's platforms. The fact you have a driver and that you're setting up times, I think is great. I would spend less time on the tour doing one-on-ones with people who attended the events. Like they've attended the event. That's the gift. And I know you have some packages where people are paying for that. So of course you could do that, but I would spend as much time during these locations focusing on people who aren't already coming to the event than spending time on those who are coming to the event, which sounds counter. It sounds counter to going there and spending time with those people, but
no, it's great. Let's play with it. So the idea is, we're on the road one day. The next day we're in the city and the workshop is going to be in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of pre-planning that can start happening now in terms of building out the list and who we're going to contact and all that. And then while I'm on the tour, I could be doing something while I'm traveling to that city, while I'm in like the morning of, even the early afternoon of, I could do something in that city for the evening coming up for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 1 or maybe 2 days afterwards, which is usually going to be likely tied up with some things with meetings, and we have to do 1 day to travel and just see the city because I promised Nina that. But especially on the drive to the city in that day, so that we'll drive to the city, we'll get to the city. Some drives are only an hour and a half. We'll have tons of time in that city the day before to do something. And then definitely the morning of and the early afternoon of, I could be doing something. To line up that list, what do you think would be the best use of my time when I'm in that city already, or when I'm on the way to the city to build the support you're talking about?
I think it would be to do exactly what you did when you were in LA, when, you know, you traveled to LA for an event, but you made sure that you sat down, you know, with Jordan Belford and got on his podcast. You went and had breakfast with someone, I don't know, presumably to record something or form some kind of partnership or something like that. I think that tied with, you know, just like you go on third-party podcasts and you go on third-party, you know, go onto radio. I think that would be the best use of being in that city, not to sell tickets for the event, but to continue to get more people to specifically know who you are.
Okay, so I already have a list of big people that I know,
mm-hmm.
that I either have met already or haven't met. Like, okay, so when I go to Miami, what can we do with Grant?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't even have a picture with Grant, which is crazy.
I noticed. I was even thinking you should just Photoshop something.
Nah, I want it to be legit. But I mean, I've worked and known Grant for, I don't know, 6 years. And the amount of times we've talked, but I guess I've only met him in person once, which is crazy. I sent my team anyway. So you know, we're trying to figure out what can we do with Grant in Miami, either for my show, for his show, and then lining up people in every city who are some big people that either can be on my show or I can be on theirs. Not really talking about the tour, maybe as context for why I'm here, but more for brand building. So is that your suggestion, that try to line up as many of those as possible in each city, the day of, the day before, the day after? People who would be good for the brand, have me on their show, and try to spread as much awareness for Believe Nation and the cause? Yeah,
I mean, like, yes, exactly that. You know that you're good once you're sitting across from someone and on camera.
Yeah.
The Built to Serve is a platform that you can use. It's an excuse for them to ask you easy questions, or it's something for you to talk about. It's universal. It's very interesting. It doesn't require a lot of backstory or explanation. So, I mean, essentially, I guess what I'm doing, I hate, it sounds overly simplified to me, but it's basically like, this is a press junket, right? And when someone comes out with a book, the reason why they sometimes come on your channel or they come on other channels is simply because they have something to promote. You now have something to promote. And so this tour should be more about the promotion of the book and the brand than it is about you doing a nice thing for your wife. And last year, it was a bit more of an experiment. This year, every minute that you're in the city or moving from thing to thing, you should be going from podcast to radio interview to sit down interview to written article to collaboration with someone that you know. That's what you should be doing.
Okay.
And for the tour, of course, we should be doing better creative and better ads and better landing pages, and we should be advertising it better and trying to get as many sales as possible to get everyone out there for sure. But that the tour doesn't help us hit 10 million.
Okay.
The way that I think about the tour, which is ticket sales.
Sure. Okay. So
if we're going to do this more like a press junket, then do you have on your team or through your agent, do you have the ability to have someone act as a publicist for the next month or two, or can you hire a publicist for the next month or two who will literally tightly set up all of the calls and everything that you need so you can go from call to call to call, interview to interview to interview. They can book all the stuff. They can put out the press release. They can do all of the stuff that would typically happen when someone is promoting a book, promoting a movie, promoting a new business, whatever it is. To me, this is like more of a PR move than an ad play.
yes, no, definitely direct outreach for sure. I mean, I could do some social media call outs and say, hey, I'm coming to Cincinnati. If you guys know anybody whose show I should be on, let me know. But it's going to be more direct outreach, figuring out who is in each city. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like which.
Would you be open to hiring a publicist for a 2-month or 3-month contract?
I don't know. Maybe. Most of the work they do is not fantastic.
I'm not saying a PR person. I'm saying a publicist.
Okay.
So, like a PR person is like writing things and trying to get you into placements. A publicist's job is literally to get you the interviews that you need to get, making sure that you're saying the right thing, making sure that it goes out on the right day, all of that stuff.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I work with a lot of those people on the other side, and there's nobody and even for some of the big name people, I'm just not impressed with any of them.
Right.
So I don't know. Do I overspend to get somebody who's decent, or
I don't know. This could be something that could unlock a new level for you. It could get you the conversations that you don't have. It could get you the pace that you're not used to. It could give you the back-to-back bookings with the efficiencies that you simply don't have. Or it might be a total waste of time and money. I don't know. But
well, listen, I'm willing to explore. That's some good homework. I can't write anything down because I'm saying this is the downside of walking meetings while I'm using my phone.
the great thing is this has been recorded, so you can.
That's true, but I got to watch the whole thing back instead of my
Ready?
notes.
Watch this.
Yeah?
Ready?
Yeah.
Christina, please send Evan an email that just basically says research publicists.
All right. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. There. Oh, even better. I can write you the email. Here we go.
There you go, Mark.
Evan Carmichael.
Mark's going to take notes for me.
Email notes from call. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I did my book, the two types of people I think of are one from the book publishing industry.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did my first book, Your One Word, I was with a major publisher. They had their own internal people as well as a major publicist to help drum up attention. And all I did was morning radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just morning radio shows. Maybe one or two other things, and like nothing. I mean, I went on. I woke up early. I did it, but nobody bought from there. Nobody said I heard you on this show. So
here's the thing. Like, when Marie Folio comes out, whatever her name is, Marie Folio, right?
Yeah.
When she comes out with a new book, suddenly she's being interviewed on all of these places. And I see her time and time again. And she has these great stories and she says the same thing. And then she disappears 3 months later. And I don't hear much from her unless I follow her.
Yeah. Yeah.
A publicist made that happen. And it works for her because I go out and buy the book or whatever. Lots of people go out and buy the book and now follow her and know who she is. So it works. It works systematically for lots and lots of people. This is something you have an agent, you have a literary agent.
Yeah.
But this is something that you don't have. So if we're going to be going out and hitting all of these cities and doing all of these things, and we want more people to know who we are, aside from just running more Facebook or Google or YouTube advertising, or growing our awareness or channel through spend, this is something that others do that leads to more book sales.
Yep. It's definitely worth exploring. It's a great seed. This is the thought process. Right?
Yes.
I don't want to overspend and get somebody who's mediocre, because it's a lot of the people in the industry. They're tied to old media and it's dying and the ROI isn't there. But right. I don't want to use that as a knee-jerk reaction, then do nothing.
Well,
what are the most effective
cross promotion things for you when you like, do you happen to know, or is there any way to know, you know what, when I went on this type of show or this type of program or this type of podcast, it led to the greatest bump in awareness for me?
I mean, the Belfort one was a good example where I was on a show. We talked about YouTube. People started messaging me to say, hey, how can I buy your YouTube course? You know, we probably should have had a special like, hey, if you listen to me on The Wolf, here's this offer or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things are probably the best. So if I go on Grant's show and he interviews me about the book, right? That's right up the alley.
Yes.
Other podcasters or other people who have big followings of real people. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
Do you think that you can arrange all of these things and do all of these things without any outside help and do it well, not have it be a secondary thought or an afterthought because you're busy focusing on something else?
Could we do it better than somebody else? We could do it better than most people, but there's probably 5 people who could do it really, really, really well. It's finding those 5 people. That's the thing. Who has the relation? Who even knows who are I know a lot of YouTubers. I know a lot of influencers. I don't know what cities they're in. I mean, the super close ones to me, Patrick B. David's in Dallas and Grant's in Miami. And, you know, there's a bunch of people that I know, but most of the cities, I don't know somebody, I don't know where a lot of my friends, internet friends actually live. And there's no easy way to tell. So does somebody have a connection to all of the business, entrepreneur, lifestyle kind of connection and community? Probably. Who is that person? I have no idea. Could I ask to find them? Maybe. Like, that's the seed. If I did it myself, I could manage it. I could have somebody go off and do it. We could line some things up.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably get better results than most of the people who we would hire. I know that.
Okay.
But there are 5 to 10 people who would crush me and what our capabilities would be. So who are those 5 to 10 people, and is it worth it? I don't know. That's a great question.
Well, regardless if you do this in-house and do it really well, or if you look to hire someone, it seems to me that the most effective use of this tour on the road to 10 million is to use it as an excuse to introduce yourself to new people. I am in your city with a great message, with a book. There's a limited time. Please bring me on. I want to talk about this because I'll change, you know.
Yeah. And last year or this year was great in terms of the face-to-face connections, meeting Dean for the first time and meeting Dave Meltzer and John Astros and Tom Bilyeu and Ed Milet, and a lot of it was LA centric. I just couldn't find, like, I didn't know anybody who was in a lot of these other cities that we went to. So
and maybe it's a cross. Maybe it's like, listen, I want to bring you on, but I need you to bring me on as well, you know?
And a lot of those relationships have led to a lot of things beyond just help me sell tickets for a tour, right? For sure. Like, meeting those guys in person have led to great things for my business, for my brand, for Ask, for now, hey, do you mind promoting my book? I'll get some yeses where otherwise it's an easier no. When I get to New York, there's tons of people. Like, we're overloaded with potential people we could do something in with New York. Some of them are super gimmies and easy.
Okay.
A lot of the
So
cities,
if you're only traveling an hour and a half, can you look at your calendar and can you spend more time in New York, and rather than traveling a day earlier to wherever's next, Newark, New Jersey or something, you know, could you look at your schedule and move days around to spend more time in the higher value areas?
We did.
Okay.
If you look at how many days, New York win the most.
Yeah.
And we did that this year too in LA. It was just that it was 0 in a lot. LA was a ton. And then we still went to between San Diego and LA. A lot of stuff just happened because people knew that we were in the area. I wasn't supposed to meet Ed Milet. I wasn't supposed to meet John Asraf or Dave Meltzer. A lot of these guys were not on the docket before we left, which not great planning. But happened. It's like, oh, you're here? Yeah, come on out. an hour away. Like, okay, great. We'll come and we'll meet you there. So it's figuring out, I don't know
You need
how
a
to
map,
get,
man. You need a map with
Yeah.
little red dots for
Yeah.
all of the target people.
yeah, we started. I mean, I have a list of maybe 75 people
Yeah.
in the different cities that we are going to, but which ones, there's still coverage that there's one person in the city. Like Mel Robbins is in Boston. Great. Is she going to be in Boston on the day that I'm going to be there? I don't know. Their travels are all over the place.
You
But
should
that's
be
it.
on Mel Robbins' new television show.
I agree. But that's all we have, I think, right now in Boston. And Boston's a huge city. So who else is in Boston? I don't know.
There's a bunch of really amazing universities and colleges there, and each one has a prof list of people who get invited in to speak who are really important people. So look through Harvard's prof list, look through MIT, look through these places.
But okay, great, awesome. I mean, there's definitely a big university in every city I'm going to. I get the list of university profs at Harvard. What do I do with it?
You Google each of their name and see which ones of them are writers or thought leaders themselves, and then you tap into. Like when I went to HubSpot in Boston, one of the greatest speakers was actually, the previous one of the co-founders of HubSpot, and speaks at Harvard now, and wrote a book, and is part of a venture capitalist firm, and does all of his own press and content marketing. So like that guy's a pretty cool guy to know. And he happens, to be in Boston and connected and all these other things.
Okay. So it's more just for the connection than for any kind of promotion or being on their show, because they won't have shows. I mean,
but they may. Everybody's becoming a known quantity these days.
So it's that kind of thing of like I don't think there's going to be that many professors who would have a sizable audience who would have me on their show, but that kind of hack to say, how do we find the people in Boston that I should be maybe speaking with or just having a meeting, or ideally in front of a group or in front of their audience while I'm there? It's that process. So it's if somebody already knows that and we hire them, amazing. Okay. Otherwise, how to do the research?
Can your agent's team look at agents in each city to see who they represent and then put together a list of people to contact? So when we need to license music, so we have a client who says, hey, I want this song off the radio in a commercial. We go to the artist, then we go to the publicist or the publisher, and then we find out who their manager is, and then we enter into negotiations with their manager. But when I go to that manager, they have a website with every single band they're managing. So if I know that I'm going to be in, Boston,
yeah,
I go to the to the agent's website, and they're going to have a list of all the different talent that they represent.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Can you email me that?
Sure.
Well, like even non-business people, like I'm thinking about CAA, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean,
who they represent, and then looking up all those people and where are they? I think we have a strong enough case to, if they're in town, that it's not super complicated for most people to try to do something with. It's identifying who those people are, and then just doing the outreach.
Sure. I mean, you can also leverage LinkedIn. You're in entrepreneurship. It's an exploding B2B platform. You can, through the Sales Navigator or whatever, you can do research based on geography to see who is kind of the known quantity in any given city.
Can you do that? Can you see so geography, but then what? By number of followers?
I don't know how we would hack it. It might, like some of the ideas I come up with for research, because I have a researcher on my team. Sometimes they're like, Mark, this is like 14 hours of work. I'm like, great. So let's go. Let's do it. So I don't know how, I don't know if we would, I don't know if we would want to do it by going into Sales Navigator or simply doing research by geography to see who's ranking first, because the more popular people will want to rank first. But I'm sure there's a way to hack LinkedIn to be able to find out who are a handful of leaders within different geography based on the number of followers that they have. Because you don't have to be connected with them to search someone. You have to.
Okay. Yeah. Can you email me that?
Sure.
I like it. I love it. See, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. At the very end of the tour, I started doing that for people who were following me. I figured how I did it on LinkedIn, and I have a sizable. I don't know how many people follow me on LinkedIn, but it's not
I think
zero.
50,000. I think you might be maxed out.
Oh, what do I do
I don't
after
know.
that?
It depends because LinkedIn started having followers versus connections. They used to only be
Okay.
connections, and you max out at 50,000 connections.
Do I have to sign up for something to get followers, or it's automatic? No, I think I'm getting it. I don't remember. But that kind of thing, right? Like, here are the people who are the most connected in Cleveland on LinkedIn. It's probably somebody who I should know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Unless it's, I mean, the only caveat is probably like sports stars and musicians and stuff. And it's not
But
that
why
I don't
not?
need
But
to
why
know
not?
them.
Why not sports stars? Like here's the thing, right? Built to Serve is a universal message. You are in
Yeah.
their city.
Yeah.
You know, you already profile tons of sports stars. There's lots of overlap. You're the Believe guy, so
yeah, it's not impossible. It's a further likelihood away. It's not as low a hanging fruit. We have a less strong case for it. It's not impossible. It's totally doable. I don't want to just, I guess it kind of sounds dismissive. It's not that we can't reach out to them. It just wouldn't be the number one pick. It's a harder story to tell. Not impossible.
I don't think it is. Why do you think it's hard when your whole book is based on mindset?
I just don't have as many inroads. We can build them, and that's maybe part of the plan to get to 10 million, building more new inroads with different communities. I'm just not as known. If you're in the entrepreneur world, you have to have seen my videos. Like, if you're of any size, unless you're a hermit and never go on YouTube, you have seen my videos.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some kind of recognition, like, oh yeah, even if they don't know me, they should recognize it a little bit, right? Or at least be impressed by the numbers because it's in their field.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a musician or a sports star, they having zero familiarity just makes it harder. It's not impossible. It's just harder.
Are there any kind of what I would consider old school digital publications that would be able to profile you? You know, like Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, CNBC, you know, like still kind of conservative-ish, old school-ish publications, but mass followings, great awareness, huge. Can your agent get you into those things, or are they too big in your mind?
Great question to ask. Can you put that in an email?
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I've been in Forbes and New York Times and Wall Street Journal and all that stuff before. If anything, since that happened, I've only grown bigger and have more, a stronger message and more influence and all that stuff. So it's a matter of just connection, timing, being in the right place. So worth looking at.
Well, I would think that you're like, this is the type of thing that no matter where you are, even if you're just doing a call in, this is something that would be good for you to.
Yeah. If I'm driving, especially when I'm on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ideally when I'm on the road, I'm doing activities where I can use the phone and dial into either podcasts or media.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm in the city, I'm using that time to build up local connections and try to drum up more support with whoever's most influential / important related to what I'm doing.
Cool.
This is good. Get some structure. So on the road and on the drive there and the day of the travel day, I need to be doing as many phone calls in the car as possible, many interviews. And then when we get there, maybe a lunch or dinner with somebody or an interview in face-to-face. And then the next day of the workshop, especially if I'm going more loose with the format. When I started the tour this year, that whole day, I had the workshop at night, but I prepared the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So we planned nothing during the day except me having time to be in a coffee shop and practice and then go home and practice again. But as the tour evolved, I needed less and less practice because it just became more about helping the audience. And I've delivered this message enough and want to make it I don't know what the format's going to be yet, but it's going to be a little bit of context and then Q&A and live examples helping people.
Yeah.
So I'll have more time the day of. If my event's at 5:30 or whatever we have it at. What was it last year or this year? 5:30, something like that? 6 o'clock?
5:30 or 6. Yeah, 6, I think. And then it went
6
to
to 9.
9:30 typically. And then maybe 9.
So,
And then,
so I have the whole day. I have
yeah.
that whole day to do stuff, to meet people. And then the next day would be, travel, explore day, maybe something super VIP if we need to. And then we have one more day to meet people. So it's getting enough meetings. The phone calls are easy enough.
Are you going to be able to send out advanced versions to publications and other things?
I don't know. I asked my publisher today if I could even just get a fake, just give me a book with the cover, like with blank pages, just to hold up. Cause I talk about it on my videos. The book is coming, but I got nothing to actually hold and show.
But the cover's been printed, right?
The cover's been approved just recently. So
go to a printing company and print a whole bunch of covers and take your one word and wrap it.
Can you email me that?
Yeah. I mean, listen, like I own a marketing agency where we literally in commercials have to change the covers.
Dude,
of things.
I'm with you. I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I just emailed them today about blank pages, but I like that. I could just wrap it myself. I like it. I need an action. We'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. Print a whole bunch though, because you want it to be thick enough paper and look good or whatever. But print.
And dude, oh my God, they sent me the layout of the internal of the book. It's so amazing. Oh my God, dude, it's what I wanted your one word to be. I showed you the Korean version of it, right?
You did. You did.
Yeah. So
the
I
Korean
made a
version
video
is
of it.
like next level amazing.
Yeah. So I made a video of it and I sent it to my publisher and said, see what the Koreans did without even me talking to them. This is what I want for Built to Serve. And then they sent it back to me like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I love it.
But I don't know when I'll have a galley. Like it's probably going to be a while. I don't know. I'm pushing as soon as we
I don't even mean a galley. I mean, like, listen, before a movie comes out, screeners go out, right? So what are we doing in December or January or February to be able to release? Again, this is all like PR publicist 101 kind of old school stuff. But what are we doing?
No, but this is
get out advanced copies for magazines.
This is great because that's not done in the book industry. Nobody does that.
Nobody
they send
does
galleys.
This?
No, they send galleys. They send the advanced copy. That's it. That's all people send. They don't send.
Oh, just print off a manuscript and send it out.
No, nobody does that.
Okay.
It's great. I mean, I don't know if you print the manuscript, but something. Yeah, why can't we send something earlier?
Yeah, and it just gives them something to thumb through to get a sense of the questions to ask you even. Yeah.
Did you add that to the email?
I did.
Nice. This is great, Mark. We're getting some good stuff happening on this call.
I'm glad it came around. I felt a little worried towards the beginning, but
I'm asking you. No, I'm asking you, but I'm asking you. Yeah. Listen, we figured it out. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I got some homework to do. And then on the tour side, yes. I mean, if you look at, the tour page is up. The process, I changed a little bit. I don't know. Did you see it today?
Mm.
Okay, great. Awesome. Tear it up.
Yeah, I'll take screenshots and then give you comments. So,
So we added a bunch of packages. We added a bunch of packages because when I was on tour last time, people said, "Hey, can you do this?" and "Hey, can you do that?" And like, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I could do that. Oh, I could do that." And trying to make it valuable for people to maybe buy in advance some of those like if they knew that this was available, we could sell more books as opposed to them asking me if I could go do something for them.
Yeah,
but whatever.
The landing page isn't bad.
Okay.
We talked about this already though. It's the sales letter order form, right?
Okay,
it's the tick, it says get your ticket. And then the next page that you land on, I have no idea what is happening. Book, pre-order, tour, exclusive VIP experiences with Evan Carmichael available for limited time only. One book can meet Evan on tour. Like you just told me to buy a ticket.
Okay. So
So again, we talked about creating a different version of this page
Yeah.
for ticket sales. And we need to really make this a lot more simpler and easier to understand.
Okay. If you even have a quick, like back a napkin, this page, this page, this, and
Yep.
we could make it. We could throw it together.
Yep. Update. Sorry. Oh, you're making me yawn. Update.
I'm making you what? Yawn?
Yeah.
I'm fired up. This is great. I'm loving the walking. You should be outside walking, Mark. This is fantastic.
I'm not even standing. I'm sitting down, which,
I'm just rotating between each hand as it gets tired. I switch to the other hand, but this is great. I'm loving the walking meetings. I'm going to be doing a lot more walking meetings.
I think someone has unmuted your home. And I think someone is watching TV in the background. So
Okay.
I hope that your computer isn't just automatically assuming that that's the person talking and
Okay. Well,
cutting to your screen the whole time.
Wow. Well, that'd be awkward, but I think we're pretty good. We're pretty much done on this one, right? This is great. We got some action items.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we crushed it. High five. Boom. There it is. I like it. All right. We got some work to do. Thank you, Mark, for the love.
Thank you.
What did we talk about last time on our we're talking about the creative director.
You up about the creative director thing again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
You make any progress on that? Nope. You went to LA. You tried to talk to all these creative entrepreneur people.
I didn't find the right person.
Yeah.
No, I didn't find the right person. But I was also. What did I add to the list?
I've
been
Carmichael pair of pants.
Not the pair of pants to test. No, I've been adding. So I've been looking at 100 Thieves. I don't know if you're 100 Thieves or not. I was actually thinking you should hire their head of content. Anyway, 100 Thieves is an esports agency or not agency, company. And they have a League of Legends franchise. There's a bunch of other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And what they've done though is really made gaming cool into streetwear, content, gaming houses. And I just really like how they put everything together.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been studying their model. I've been in touch with their founder. I mean, nothing tangible in terms of here's my next step and here's the person I'm going to hire. Partly also why I want to talk about this is because we got to focus on the tour right now and get that going.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in my head. It's stewing. There's smoke.
And where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Right. It's coming. Just stay tuned. So the pushes haven't been for naught. I'm stewing. Something's going to happen.
Okay, let's make it happen.
Cool.
Let's go.
If you guys want to see the last episode I did with Mark, where he pushed me as usual, check your video right there next to me. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. Mark Trigger doesn't say unimportant things, ladies and gentlemen. My challenge is find me a pair of pants.
They have to manage it, run it, and grow you.